Welcome to Legal and Wealthy, the podcast for lawyers who are ready to stop playing small and start building true wealth and a career and life of their dreams, powerfully and purposefully. Whether you're a law student, new associate, or seasoned attorney, this show is for those who are ready to take charge of their law career in a new way. I'm your host, Lauren Klein, attorney, law firm owner, professor, and founder of Legal and Wealthy. Here, we don't just practice law, we practice liberation and becoming wealthy attorneys. Because being a great lawyer shouldn't come at the cost of your time, your peace, or your financial freedom. Every week, you'll get the strategy, mindset, and wealth building guidance that law school never gave you. So you can go from just surviving your career to building a legacy through it. Let's get to work. Welcome back to the Legal and Wealthy podcast. I am sitting here today with my friend, fellow entrepreneur, and an incredible CPA and business owner, Jaclyn Strauss. Welcome to the Legal and Wealthy podcast.
Thank you so much, Lauren. I'm so excited to be here with you. It's just been amazing to watch your journey and our journeys grow alongside each other over the last several years. So it's an honor. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, likewise. And we connected, I think, the first month or so that I had started Flourish Law Group. So you've been on our journey from the very beginning. And I've just been blown away with the way that you approach organization and just making sure that, we have a million things going on in our lives, and how do we actually decide what we need to organize and how to have it all put together. So I'm so excited for this conversation today. I think the listeners are going to get so many nuggets of what they can do, action items today of how to get their life together, because it feels so good. It really does.
It does. It's definitely, though, an undertaking, right? And when we think about, gosh, let me organize anything and everything that I have, it can be paralyzing 100%. And I say it based on my own personal experience. So you did mention that I am a CPA by profession. And so with that comes a very type A personality, right? Wanting to always be on top of everything. But then what came was a husband, 2 children, a house, and on top of my career. And that type A, wanting everything in order all the time in the best way that I knew how, kind of went out the door. And this started, and my deep dive into really doing things what I thought would be the most practical way came as a result of what could have been a very tragic event in my life. When I went and delivered my second child, who, thank God, is healthy, thriving, and happy, 10 years ago, I suffered a post-delivery hemorrhage. And I am the CEO, the CFO of my household. At that time, my son was 3.5 years old. And my husband is very capable. However, as women, I think we like to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders and say, just give it to me. I'll do it quicker, faster, and better. Maybe.
Probably.
Okay. But as a result, it left my husband not in the know as far as what powers our family and what makes it go every single day. So when I suffered from the post-delivery hemorrhage, it came down to the physician taking both my husband and my parents to the lobby to let them know that the chances of me actually going home and leaving the hospital alive was very slim.
Oh my gosh.
So it got real very quickly for them. And by the grace of God, here I am today, right? 10 years later to be able to talk about it. So I was given my chance. And when I got home and started feeling better, I thought about how my physical absence certainly would have been a huge loss for my family. But then the not knowing where everything was and how everything operated for my husband and for my parents that would have probably jumped right in and helped, would have been a huge weight on all of them.
Yeah.
To not know where the simple things were, like our passports, the birth certificate, my son's immunization records, the things that are so simple, he would have not known at all. I would have sunk my family, and I had zero intentions of doing that.
Of course. Wow.
So I sat down and I was like, I need to do better. And everything that I looked for, I Googled solutions on how to do it. I called my financial planner, asked if they had anything for me. I called my estate attorney at the time, said, hey, do you have any direction? I don't know what to put where, how, where do I start? Do I start with the dog? Do I start with me? Do I start with the kids? Do I start with my husband? And it was literally checklists that were like this thick. And I was not going to be filling out a PDF document that long.
No. Who has
So
time? Especially with two kids, two
kids.
babies? No way.
And I never did it. Once again, Lauren, I failed. But it was like this weight over me. And I had this cloud over me because it was something I knew I had to do. But I just kept not doing it. So I was like, you know what? We're going to do better. I'm going to create something that's palatable, that's not paralyzing, and that's practical. I just want to know the bare minimum of what I need. And so that's what we did. So we definitely turned to the digital space. But at the end of the day, that takes a huge investment in time.
Yeah.
And we all say we're going to do it. And the reality is, through this entrepreneurial journey, I've learned that people taking action on that, there's a very slim chance of it. But what people will take action on, people like to hold things in their hands, touch them, and feel them.
Yeah.
So we created a physical place with directions on where you can put all this stuff together and know that you can leave it. And if you have to grab it in case of an emergency, we live in Florida. Certainly hurricane evacuations are real.
Yep.
Flooding, my house has been flooded after a hurricane. It's all real. So we created this product where now it's all together. I can grab it and literally go.
And I think that this piece of the conversation of wealth and legacy is so important because if you, let's say you've done your homework, let's say you've gotten your estate plan in place, let's say you have your financial advisor, you have your CPA, you've gotten everything in order somewhat.
Yep.
If you haven't taken the step to actually organize it, put it somewhere where people know where it is, and we have seen that time and time again, not with our own clients because we guide them, but we've seen it all the time in probates. It is frustrating or disastrous depending on the circumstances. So I love that we're talking about this because it is a piece of being wealthy. It is a piece of having a healthy money mindset and being financially healthy, because if you take all the steps but it's not organized or no one knows where it is, you've missed, a really big piece of the puzzle. And I think it's especially timely right now because we are, we keep saying we're on the cusp of the great wealth transfer. It's happening. Like, we're not on the cusp anymore. It has started.
Okay.
And what they're estimating, and I'm going to look at the numbers because it's crazy. So they're thinking that about 124 trillion. This number has gone up from the estimates that I was looking at even earlier this year, is set to change hands by 2048, which is really not
that far away.
It's not that far away. It sounds like very futuristic, but here we are in 2025. That is not that far away, and it's happening already. And what they're saying is about 106 trillion of that 124 trillion amount is going to go to Gen X, Millennials, and Gen Z.
Wow. That's incredible.
Which is huge. And
it's
with the rest
huge.
going to charity, which is also incredible and very, very exciting and life-changing in many ways for charities and the families and, the causes that they serve. But knowing that this is happening, I just want to talk about, imagine, the potential risk, emotional, financial, if you don't know where your things are, where your most important information and documents are. So I'd love to hear kind of, your story was incredible and impactful. Thank you for sharing that about, and I knew part of that, but I feel like I didn't fully, I don't know, maybe when we talked about it like 2 years ago, I didn't realize that the doctor said you may not, there's a good chance you may not make it. I'm so glad and honored to be sitting here with you today. The world needs you. And obviously your family needs you too. But, what do you kind of think the risks are if people don't have everything organized, especially from your CPA perspective, entrepreneurial perspective, and mama perspective as well?
So that I would love to speak in regards to me being a CPA and what I see with my clients personally.
Yeah.
So, going through and doing everything right, like you mentioned, Lauren, right? Having your estate documents in place, having your financial planner, having your CPA, prepare your tax returns, and do all the things. When I have a client that passes, a lot of times I will get a call from a family member saying, hey, I'm looking for this for my parent. So it'll be an adult child like myself, right? That at the end of the day, it typically falls on the daughter, if there is a daughter, to take care of all of the affairs for their parents.
Yep.
And it's not a matter of if, and it's just a matter of when we will. Everybody, unfortunately, has a day that they will no longer be here. And I get calls from my clients asking me these questions that the only thing I can answer as a CPA is where their tax return is, because that's the level of involvement that I have, and that's the way I serve them.
Right.
But they ask for things that are so out of my wheelhouse. Like, what is the password to their Comcast account? And I'm like, I don't have that, right? Like, that is not something, I'm sorry. And the feeling as a professional of saying, no, I cannot help, is not something that I like to do. I want to be that trusted partner and that professional to help my clients when they're here and their families when they're not here, if their families allow it, obviously.
Yeah.
And so with my clients, I ensure that all of their affairs are in order from an organization standpoint. And with that, I encourage them to buy and put all of their stuff in one place. Whatever system works for them, whatever that looks like, is perfectly fine. I just want them to know, have it. And then you said, tell someone. Well, tell someone that you love, that you trust, where that is. Because doing all of it doesn't matter unless somebody actually knows where to go grab it. My mom, for example, she's in her mid-70s. She's not comfortable storing her passwords online. She's not. Period. End of story. No matter what, we all have different levels of comfort, right, with technology. So she writes them down on a sheet of paper. As long as I know where that sheet of paper is with her passwords, and I'm not searching for it one day, then I feel much more at peace than had I not known that. And so my parents have gone through the exercise of storing everything in what we call at Second Vault, my company, in their Haven holder. It has dividers. It has waterproof bags to put your most coveted and loved, cherished pictures, your passport, everything that you want in one spot. And I encourage my clients to do it. I've done it for my family. I've done it with my parents. And a lot of times my clients tell me that the conversation, and you'll know better than me, Lauren, with their parents is often one that's very uncomfortable.
This episode of Legal and Wealthy is brought to you by Law Firm Sites. Law Firm Sites has been building custom websites and providing online marketing for law firms for over 23 years. They are good at what they do because that's all that they do. If you are looking to expand the reach of your firm or just improve your online presence, Law Firm Sites has the team to do it. Go to lawfirmsites.com or call 1-800-932-8242 and mention Legal and Wealthy to receive 10% off any of their website or marketing packages.
Yeah, we see it all the time. And a lot of times clients ask us, should we talk to our family? Is this something that we should do? Sometimes it's the children who are the clients and they're asking about telling their parents. Sometimes it's the parents with their adult children. And obviously we always say it's based on the family dynamic, but if your children are named as power holders, as fiduciaries, and if as beneficiaries, you might want to at least let them know where the documents live. You don't necessarily have to go through the documents in the plan, although in many circumstances that is a fantastic idea.
Right.
Especially if you've maybe given different children different, maybe one's getting a business and one's getting real estate. Letting them know ahead of time might be helpful. But having some sort of conversation and letting them know at the bare minimum where they can find the assets or the attorney who can hand over the documents is crucial. I mean, we see it all the time. We've seen, clients are like, I've been looking for months. I finally found the estate planning documents on the top of the TV stand, like at the very, very top. And it was like hidden up there and no one had any idea. Just, we were dusting and we found it months later.
And what's the cost associated with that? That delay?
I mean, if there is already a probate opened, maybe with a lost will affidavit because they couldn't find a will or an older will, you would have to amend everything with the court. Or maybe you had a probate opened that, really gave different assets to other beneficiaries. Now you have to go back. If that probate is closed, that's a big problem because you can't necessarily go back and reopen it. That would be, a long time period. And just delays and costs and expenses of attorneys filing additional paperwork is insane. Or potentially maybe there was a trust and there were assets in a trust and there was no need for a probate. That's obviously in many cases the gold standard.
Right.
It can be really, really problematic. And then we've also seen sometimes, this is not as trendy anymore and in vogue, but back in the day, and a lot of our clients still have safe deposit boxes. They'll put the will and the estate planning documents in the safe deposit box, but you can't open the safe deposit box because you can't open the probate. So it's like this just vicious circle. And people just don't know. And why should you? These are not things that you should necessarily know. So listening to podcasts like this are helpful, I hope, to learn little things that you can do, like knowing where the documents are, having them all in one place, having them safe from things like floods. We have an office on the west coast of Florida, and so many of our clients, suffered floods or their house being completely destroyed.
Right.
It's really, it's real.
It is real.
Or the fires in California, it's sad, and it's also a good reminder of we are just humans on Mother Earth, and natural disasters do happen. So it's so, so important. And it's just another step of, like I said, having that wealthy mindset and just really being, it's organized, but I don't know that sounds sexy. It's really taking charge.
And it's not sexy, right? It's not sexy, but it is taking charge and just knowing, right?
Yeah.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And I think that is the most important thing. And this knowledge is simple knowledge to have, right? It's the most obvious things.
Yeah.
The most simplistic things that you can do, in my opinion, can have the greatest impact on your emotional state of mind, giving you peace of mind. Mm-hmm. And we're both in the professional services business where we're able to provide that for our clients. And whether you're a client of mine, a client of yours, or not a client of anybody's, my hope is to have an impact in through a small product, right? In a big way. Yeah. And really that's the goal. If we're all doing just a little bit more and adding a little bit more value to people, offering that extra hand, giving them extra direction, right? That will help in the long run. This world would be such a better place, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, we both are in the peace of mind business. At the end of the day, when you really, really break it down, it's action steps, services that can help you to protect your family and just know, when you travel, when you're going out of town, whatever, when something does go awry, that you have a plan. So I'd love to talk about kind of, what are the main things that you think people should have organized? What are the main lists that they should have, the documents they should have? Because I think these are the things that'll get people thinking like, oh gosh, I definitely don't have that all in one place.
Yeah. So thanks for asking. And certainly my co-founder and I thought through this because that's the paralyzing part. What is it? Like, what do I get together? Where do I start?
Right. And your co-founders,
is a certified financial planner,
right?
Takes care of clients of all different walks of life with all different, amounts of money, let's say. And it doesn't matter how much you have or how little you have. At the end of the day, we all need to have our stuff together. And, that's one thing, Lauren, I do want to mention is people say to me, but I don't have anything. I have nothing. And I'm like, really? I'm like, that's impossible. Yeah. Do you have a dog? Yeah. Yes. And I love my dog. Well, what happens if something happens to you? Does anybody know who your dog's vet is? Mm-hmm. These simple things that we care so much about, nobody can say they don't have anything. And so that is not an okay answer. And I don't think anyone should ever feel that way, because do you have a picture that means something to you that you would, or a recipe that's been handed down to you, right? It doesn't have to be a tax return or a trust or, these things that we do for, our clients. It's the simple things too. So,
and really quick before you dive in, it's so fascinating because clients say the same thing to us, and it doesn't even necessarily matter. Like, their wealth level does not necessarily matter. They will say to us, oh, I don't have that much. And then we pull up their asset list that they've provided, and we're like, you have a home, you have life insurance, you have a 401k, because sometimes when it's not liquid assets, you're not thinking about it like a bank account or a brokerage account or physical real estate.
Right.
So often our clients have estates worth multiple millions for those who just thought they didn't have that much. So it's an interesting mindset. And I think everyone who's listening, as we're diving into this, really think about, what do you have? What do you need to protect for your family? Because we're all working so hard every day. But what are we doing to protect that nest egg, that wealth, that legacy that we're building?
Absolutely.
It's fascinating.
Absolutely.
You're having that same comment.
That same comment. And I'm like, no, that's not. I know it's not true.
Yeah.
So what we did is we have a document checklist that comes with our organization binder that we call our Haven Holder. Things like your passports, copies of ID cards, driver's license, immigration or citizenship papers, your birth certificates, marriage certificates, death certificates, power of attorneys, your tax information. So your last 3 years of your tax returns is a minimum of needing to have. And I just say that because I am a CPA and that is IRS guidance. Immunization records. What about your simple medical records? Do you have any allergies? What medications are you on? Because if there is a medical emergency, that is the first question that will be asked of your family members. And if you don't have that information readily available, it can delay treatment that may be time sensitive. Yeah. And I have seen that. A deed to your house or a lease, maybe any insurance policies. I don't really think you need to print out entire policies, but simply having the first page of, right? So my husband knows who our policy is through would be helpful and prevent a treasure hunt.
Right.
Like one of your clients' family members went through to find something up in a closet somewhere. Yeah. But all of this comes with our product. And we offer 120 labels to go on file folders.
Love it.
We do not, though, suggest having 120 files. First of all, our product wasn't even meant to hold that. Yeah. It was meant to hold the things that you feel are most important, that you want protected, and in one spot. So everyone likes options. We give the options. Yeah. We all like to be able to drive what's important to us. And our product also comes with a sheet of paper that you can physically write, because I thought about my mom, your passwords.
Yeah.
For those that just don't want to go digital.
I know. I'm trying to get my mom to go on LastPass. I'm like, just do it. It'll be so much easier for you.
My mom was a hard no, but my mom is probably older than yours.
No, I think they're the
because
same age.
I don't know.
Yep,
I'm
yep.
older than you. So, and then, one thing I do want to add is having it in all of this protected in what is really waterproof and fireproof. I'm going to tell you, because I am type A, I ordered 12 different fireproof
I love this.
containers on Amazon. And I tested all of them myself. None of them were actually waterproof. I submerged them in my pool in my backyard. And all of the paper was soaking wet after, which was so not okay with me.
So not okay.
I cannot provide that to my clients in good faith.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep at night. So
I love that you did that, because they do say waterproof and fireproof.
They do.
Right
all
there
of them
on Amazon.
Right. And
lies.
Right. Like, just it's not accurate. And I had to test it myself. So we did go, and what I did know worked were those cell phone holders that you could put your phone in and go diving in the ocean with, because living in Florida, I would see people with that. So we went and had one customized for our file box. So you drop the box in that. Literally, my daughter has tested it and has gone swimming in our pool with it.
I love it.
And I've submerged it in a tank of water with a dumbbell on top of it for 24 hours, and not a drop got in. So I felt much better.
Yeah.
And then our fireproof bag, you then put the product in the waterproof case inside the fireproof bag. I've lit that thing on fire. It has gone on my grill, because we don't live in the woods, so I couldn't light it and put it in a bonfire. But the next best thing was my grill. So I did that, and it did very, very well too. So just make sure whatever product you use, whatever you find, definitely does what it says it's going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is something that we see, like I said, almost once a week. We do a lot of probates, and we see what happens, either oftentimes because they didn't have any documents, but a lot of the times it's because things go missing.
Yeah.
Information is, we have one, this is like really crazy, where it's a big 706, and it's been this like insane treasure hunt, even more than normal. There's assets here, there's assets overseas, there's all these different things to think about. And, dad just never put anything together. And mom is still alive, but she doesn't know where anything is. She just doesn't know. They're a very old school couple. She has no clue, and she's older. So she's like, I don't want to deal with it. Kids, you go figure out where everything is.
Wow.
And so we see it all the time. And what I will say is, when you're grieving, when you're going through a really, really hard time, you are already not yourself. We have clients tell us all the time, my mind is just not working as clearly as it normally is. I can't think clearly. I feel like I'm like moving through mud.
Yeah.
And now I have to go find all of these things, do this treasure hunt, all these administrative tasks. Obviously with us as the attorneys helping, but they have to go find the things.
Right.
So it's really, really crazy. And I know, I've told you this before with Kristen, my law partner, when she was a corporate fiduciary, she was the one who was going into the homes,
right?
She was the one, usually it was when the second spouse passed and the kids were, up in New York or whatever, she would go into the house, she would search. And she said one time in all these high net worth estates that she was administering, one time did the guy have the sheet with his assets, with his passwords, with who cut the grass, with who, is whatever, all the things. One time. And she like picked it up and she was like, oh, like it's like the holy grail.
Right.
Luckily the family had the bank to do it for them, but they were paying a very pretty penny for them to do it.
Right.
But she's like, wow, this will actually be easy, because we are going to see with this great wealth transfer, we're going to see a lot of money transferring from generation to generation. We're also going to see a lot of money lost, either lost to probate costs lost to attorney's fees, or just simply you don't know where to find it.
Right.
You just don't know where it is. And if you don't know where it is, you may not be able to locate it. And we're seeing that. We're starting to see that already. And at the very worst, the assets can just sheet to the state. And clients ask us all the time, I want to get my estate plan because I don't want everything to go to the state. And we're like, well, that's probably not going to happen unless you have no beneficiaries left and you didn't name any charities. But it does happen. We have had, every time we do a probate, even for our estate planning clients, we'll go on treasurehunt.gov. Every state has their website. And we'll find assets. And we're like, did you know? And they're like, I had no idea.
Right.
And we're just going to see that on steroids over the next 2 decades. That's just that's the reality of it. So now is the time more than ever to get your estate plan in place, get your financial advisor in place, make sure you're working with a great CPA, and then make sure all of that hard work is organized and protected and somewhere that people know where it is.
Yeah, and tell somebody who those providers are.
Yeah.
Who is your lawyer?
Yeah.
Who is your CPA? Who is your financial advisor?
Yeah.
An email address, a phone number is all you need. And actually that we do have a place to write that down and capture it, to put inside this box, because just knowing that alone could be enough.
Yeah.
So if that's all you have to do and all you can do, then fine, it's better than nothing. And it sounds like Kristen, with that one client, that was like striking gold for her. I mean, that was a treasure because it saved her a ton of time, and the emotional toll of not knowing a key piece of information or where something is so taxing on somebody during that time of panic and or grief.
It's so true.
And I have just one quick story I want to share of a client who is one of the smartest individuals, females, that I've ever come across in my entire life. Like, she is my superwoman. Always has been. I've looked up to her for years. And her husband was a CPA who had his own mid-size accounting firm, had the same administrative assistant for 30 years, was like a family member. And the wife was a professional as well, an executive for a Fortune 100 company. So when I say they were a power couple and had it together, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, he passed at a young age, 59 years old, of cancer. And the wife, they had time. So they had time together to discuss all the things, right? So it wasn't a 1-2 where it was like, okay, that's it. I'm here today, gone the next minute. They had time to discuss everything. And she had thought that they had. The one thing they did not discuss was the password to his work computer. His work computer at the office held all the things that they had talked about. His assistant of 30 years tried to help her think of every possible password it could be. They couldn't do it. This client, she was supposed to be grieving, taking that time, but she was obsessing over this password. Tried everything, every day. That was her mission. Literally 2 weeks after his passing, in the middle of the night, a word came to her when she was sleeping. She put on her clothes, drove to the office, put it in, and it worked. Now, I don't know what I personally believe about all of that stuff, right? That's a whole different discussion.
Yeah.
I don't know what I believe, but I know that I don't want anyone to have to wait for something being sent to them in their sleep that they were obsessing over for 2 weeks when they were also grieving and panicking all at the same time to get what she needed. And as a result, she has done things very differently. Everything is now captured. I know where it is as her professional, right?
Yeah.
But it was hard. It was really, really hard to navigate and just be there for her because I didn't have the answer for her. And the way she got it was just I got chills.
Yeah.
Because again, I was like, what are the chances of that? I don't want to rely on that, and I don't want to see anybody ever have to do that either.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
crazy. I can't even imagine losing a spouse, especially unanticipated at a young age, and then that's what you're having to deal with.
Yeah.
And I do believe that there's much we don't understand about the world and the universe, and I'm sure that was him saying, "Hey, babe, I see you. I
Right.
see you struggling. This is not
Right.
what I want for you, because what are the odds of that?"
Yeah.
But that is a tragic, and luckily
Like,
she
I have
figured it out.
goosebumps
I
as
do
we
too.
speak
I do
because
too. Luckily
that
she figured
story-
it out,
Yeah.
because that's there's so many ways we could take this. That's the other thing too. When people have a business, this is another piece. So many of our clients, or so many people listening, are business owners. We don't often think, what if something happens to us? We often have teams. We have people that rely on us. We have clients that rely on us.
Yes.
What is the succession plan? And even the succession plan might be, here's where the information is. At least let's have that in place. But who's going to take over? These are just the things that, why would we think about?
Right.
We're busy building businesses. We're busy building families. We're busy going about our lives, trying to also, enjoy our lives at the same time. We're not thinking about, oh my God, what happens, if something happens to me. But we see it. We
Yes.
see it, and it's not discussed, even by some of the most successful entrepreneurs out there. One, we don't want to talk about our own mortality.
Right.
And two, sometimes we don't know who that person would be that would take over, or if you have a law firm, it can't be a spouse if they're not a lawyer. So there's so many things to think about. And I heard a statistic a while ago that, I don't remember what percentage, but the vast majority of small businesses, when the owner dies or becomes incapacitated, they just close shop, where often they could sell. They could sell with their intellectual property and their client list and their know-how and their team, but they just don't, because there's no plan, or there's no directive.
That's so unfortunate, because you and I both know how much blood, sweat, and tears it takes to build businesses and practices.
Yeah.
And
It's
yes,
not for the faint of heart.
No, by any means. And so for all of that hard work, right, and probably the intention of having it continue and thrive for their children or for somebody else that helped them alongside them build the business, and that was integral to them, to then just have it close would be so devastating.
Yeah.
I would never want that.
It really, really is. And we see it, we see it all the time. I'd love to wrap up, and just, if you have any kind of final thoughts on what can people do right now. Obviously, we'll talk about where they can go find this product. I absolutely love it. I'm really excited about it. And we can also, your digital product as well. I'd love to share where people can go, especially if it's, the Gen Z's listening and they're like, no paper.
Right.
No paper.
Right.
Don't leave me a voicemail, and don't give me any paper.
I don't listen to voicemails. I read the transcription.
Yeah. Same.
Okay.
Or I just call them back. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Why are you calling me?
Right.
Just send me a text.
Exactly.
But any final thoughts on what people can do today to really make sure they have everything together, everything organized, so they can take another step to becoming the best wealthy version of themselves?
Just lean on the resources out there. There's so much at your fingertips. Again, the most simplistic solution could provide huge value. So just start with the small things and see what it feels like to have that together. So as a mom, speaking from there, I have 2 children. That means 4 passports, 4 birth certificates, 4 social security cards, and 2 sets of immunization records. Just having that alone in one spot saves me so much time, especially on the back to school paperwork, when I have to provide the same information every single year on the registration forms and send it in. I'm not searching for it. I know exactly where to go pull it from. So I can make a copy and send it in with their registration paperwork. So those small things may be a good start. And then you can get into the bigger things. Remember, we all have something. So telling me or Lauren or anybody that you don't have anything is just simply not the truth. So think about, what are the things most important to you? Where do you want to have them? And do you want to really take care of them and take care of those people closest to you?
Yeah, I agree. And, I would just say, those who are listening, mostly lawyers, mostly law students, it's never too early to start. Even if you're in law school, starting to get everything together, it's a good step in the right direction, being organized. And then if you have your law firm, you have your family, you're working for a firm, this is all so, so relevant. And we can't be the shoemaker, as children without the shoes. We have to take care of ourselves first. I know we're all out there serving our clients, doing the best job we can for them, but no one's going to come and save us. So we really have to take care of ourselves. Thank you, Jaclyn, so much. I'm always inspired by you. I love how you see real problems in our world and you create something. And that's the true definition to me of an entrepreneur. You see an issue and you're like, I have a solution. I'm going to make this solution. I'm going to make it easy for everyone. I mean, that's what it's all about. So I'm always inspired by you. I've really even picked up some great ideas today, things that I'm going to go home and kind of tweak of what we have in place, because it's actually interesting. In my home, my husband's really the one who is the more, the organizer. He's the one who puts it all together, but I'm going to go check his work and make sure he's really good at that stuff, and make sure he's done a really, really good job. And, I have the fireproof, waterproof bag. I'm going to get that one too, because I'm going to be a customer today, because I can't believe that was not actually.
Well, go home and test yours. Maybe you picked the right one on Amazon, but the 10 that I picked were not the right ones. So
I'll go off your project.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Lauren, and ditto. Yeah, all the things. Ditto. Again, it makes me so happy to see how amazing you're doing, all the people that you're helping, and even some of my own friends and clients can't say enough amazing things about you and your law partner. So thank you.
Thank you.
And
our pleasure.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Amazing. Where can everyone find out about Second Vault, about your story? And if they're interested in getting their shit together today.
Yes, absolutely. Just go to secondvault.com. For the Haven Holder is the product, and we call it our Haven Holder bundle. And you can buy extra dividers and all the things, but there is one bundle that we think has everything together that you need. You can go there. You'll also see information on digital storage and that option. If you want to complement it, that's definitely an option. So again, choices. You can always reach out to me directly. Email me, Jaclyn, Jaclyn. I'm sure you will post the information at secondvault.com. I'd love to help anybody that I can, whether it's you, your clients, in ways. Always happy to give back. So please feel free to reach out.
Yeah, and especially for trust and estates lawyers who are listening, this is definitely a very, very nice way to present documents to your clients. So
absolutely,
definitely go check it out. Thank you so much for being on. This was so much fun, and I know we talked about a lot, but I think we really, really delivered some great nuggets. And I knew when you were here, that's exactly what would happen. So thank you, and thank you for everyone for tuning in to the Legal and Wealthy podcast. And see you soon. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Legal and Wealthy. If today's episode sparked something in you, take it one step further. Share it, leave a review, or come connect with me inside the Legal and Wealthy community. Remember, wealth isn't just about the numbers. It's about how you lead, how you live, and how you build beyond the billable. You already have what it takes to create real freedom and wealth. I'm just here to help you claim it.